Hey, how's it going out there, folks? Welcome back here to a Wednesday morning, 10:36 a.m. California time, March 12th, 2025 is the date. Latest activity there on the earthquake 3D globe has a 5.2 coming in here to the area between Russia and Alaska up here, right in the center up here, it looks like. The latest coming in, let's go ahead and see what we got. 42 miles west of Point Hope, Alaska. A lot of activity up here across the northern end of the globe recently. Let's see what we got the last 30 days or so. Pretty good cluster of earthquakes here across the Alaska and the Russia region. That definitely some interesting activity up there. Now a 5.2. Not all that common in terms of larger scale movement. A look at historical data up here across this region shows a handful of earthquakes. But really nothing of any major earthquake activity in terms of the intensity. But occasionally we do get some 5s up there, maybe even some 6s it looks like. But for now, 5.2. Pretty shallow earthquake. That looks like it's still underneath an automatic status review, so it has not been reviewed by a seismologist. We'll check back on that here in just a few minutes. Covering the earthquake activity here across California. 2.5 map and above for today. Shows a handful of earthquakes out here. One around the Bay Area near Alamo. That's a 2.6. It looks like it's in between the Hayward Fault and the Calaveras Fault zone here. Following that, just an hour later, an hour and a half later, another 2.5 in that same region between the Hayward Fault and the Calaveras Fault. So watch this region here. This has been another area of, elevated earthquake activity out here compared to the normal background level. Around the San Andreas Fault, the Hayward Fault here had a couple different swarms and some various other swarming regions here lately. So we'll definitely keep an eye on it. Looks like there may be a little bit of activity striking out there. And again, I'm not for sure exactly. It looks like it's at the northern end of the Calaveras Fault zone, the extreme northern end. But when you take into account everything that's happened out here in terms of swarms on the San Andreas, the Hayward Fault, and over here across the Concord area, just got to watch and be prepared for some movement. Further south, see what else we got along the plate boundary here. Not a whole lot happening out here now. Looks pretty quiet. So most of the quakes here today, aside from the one way up north here, above 2.5, is going to be a 3.2 off the coast there, Petrolia. Aside from that, most of the movement in Southern California here today, pretty quiet in terms of microquake movement. That's about all we have. A couple more earthquakes there on the Malibu Coast Fault, 2.4 and a 1.2. Aside from that, no major swarming, no unusual activity there to note across the Southern California area. Washington area, looks like one little earthquake from yesterday. Watching and waiting to see if things don't pick up here today. And I say that because the tremor activity has been, well, at least from yesterday, showed a little bit of movement up here yesterday. The total count was about 39 epicenters. Not a big deal, but in events past here in the last few weeks or so, any tremor activity that occurs within this region, underneath this area, that tremor is associated with the Cascadia subduction zone. This tremor is just a kind of a slow slip event, not a sudden release of pressure. That's an earthquake, but these tremors are recorded on very sensitive equipment that picks up that low vibrational frequency between the two plates as they slowly slip past each other there into the subduction zone. But last time we seen something like this, we had some elevated earthquake activity around Vancouver, Seattle. So far, following this tremor activity yesterday, I have yet to see any uptick, but we'll watch this throughout the day today. It looks pretty quiet right now. Yellowstone National Park, nothing major showing up out there, just a couple smaller microquakes. The Texas oil field still getting hit, although looks like a little break today, only a couple ones out there. Puerto Rico Trench region still has a number of earthquakes out here across this area. That been an ongoing deal here. Of course, a little swarming out here. This is a typical swarming zone. It's been swarming here for a number of years, and it's pretty much Puerto Rico here getting uplifted here between the Mariotos Trough and the Puerto Rico Trench here. This is a very interesting dynamic area. It can see some large earthquakes, but occasionally we'll see just earthquake swarms there that stir up for months at a time. Been a little while since we've seen any major earthquakes swarming out there, but there's the last 30 days. Got about 101 earthquakes around the area of Puerto Rico, not to mention the swarming up here across the Puerto Rico Trench and another area back here. So keeping an eye on this region. It can get some big earthquakes. The Atlantic Ocean, nothing showing up there today. Is pretty active over the last couple days. It's got 5.1 and a 5.2. Now those just may be duplicate quakes there. I don't think there's actually two earthquakes, but one's from the EMSC, one's from the USGS. Let's see what we got. Still underneath an automatic status there, so again, we'll come back and check on that. Let's see here. Hawaii entered into the pause yesterday or late last night. It'll be a few more days before Kilauea Volcano returns to an eruption stage. Some movement into North Island, New Zealand area again, underneath this area. A couple threes, including a 4.5 along the southern end of the Kermadec Trench. Keep an eye on that region. Definitely has been quite active out there across the New Zealand area, more so than in recent times. So watch that. Still pretty quiet out here across the Solomon Islands area. Last night, 6-pointer came in here right after I got done with my update video. That was just off the coast here of Sumatra. USGS reporting that as a 5.9. EMSC reporting that as a 6-pointer. But a little bit of activity stirring up out there across this area. Further north, a couple smaller quakes around the region. A lot of this here from yesterday. Really no major increasing movement there across the Santorini area. We can double check that here real quick. See what they're reporting there from the geophysics site in Greece. As we zoom in here to the Santorini area, got this seismograph station here. Still showing some earthquake activity. I don't see any threes out there. All these look like they're 2.5 or maybe upper twos and below. But we're still seeing earthquake activity. That's the thing. We're still got these numerous quakes. They haven't completely gone away. It's dying down, yes, compared to the weeks past, but still seeing activity out there. A bunch of movement here. I was expecting that across Iceland, following the activity up here recently. Some larger quake activity and some movement off the coast there of Greenland and north of Iceland. Looks like that's finally making its way down here across the plate boundary. So let's go check out the volcano site here, see if there's anything new going on across Iceland. Probably getting close to another eruption out here across the area of Grindavik down here. You got the Reykjanes Peninsula still underneath the yellow status. I don't see any other major changes out here across the area for any volcanoes. Where's let's see where the other one. This was put out yesterday. That's a little small here. Expectation of a new eruption in the crater area where we've seen our most recent eruption activity northeast of Grindavik there. They expect that to continue. Deformation data there is on the rise. That means that magma is accumulating. Look at that. We're right here in the red line. That's the most recent. Somebody's car alarm going off outside. But that's the most recent eruption pause right here. Back in, I don't recall exactly when that was. Let's see here. Looks like October, right? Wouldn't that make sense? No, take that back. Maybe November right here, November 21st. So that we're going back up here. And if you look, we're way above previous levels seen here. So this next eruption coming up could be a dandy. I'm not for sure if we're going to see, you know, maybe a different magma dike somewhere underneath the area with a new eruption, but more than likely it's probably going to stay within the same region where the majority of the fissures have opened up. Earthquake activity has been confined here across this general area to the east of the most recent fissure event here. Blue Lagoon sits over here, Grindavik down here. Not a whole lot of earthquake activity towards the southern end, which is good, but increasing earthquakes around this area east of one of the most recent fissure events there. So more than likely, we're going to just see it return here to this region when the eruption does happen once again, but who knows? It's definitely building up, that's for sure. As you can see here on the information, the deep inflation chart. There we go. We're way up here above previous levels seen. Yeah, see, even these guys mention it due to the amount of time that has passed, the buildup, and the volume of magma that could result in an eruption being larger than the previous ones. It could be a dandy of a one, so we'll have to see what happens here in the near term. Keep an eye on that for sure. Okay, let's see. Has this been reviewed yet? 5.2, automatic status still. Nothing new to report, I guess. We'll check back on it again, I guess. Space weather activity should be getting interesting here in the coming days. There is an active region way out here on the, just barely see a little flaring going on from that sunspot area out on the eastern limb of the sun. That also showing up here on the UV filter. Look at that, some flaring going on here. After quite a few days here, very quiet conditions, we're returning back to some crackling, so to speak there. I like to call that kind of like popcorn events there. Multiple C flares indicating a sunspot that is complex and sizzling, so to speak. And that is going to be from sunspot, it's not named yet, but it's this area back over here. Barely see it. Not really impressed with any of these other ones that are currently facing the Earth, but this one back here looks like it could be a decent sunspot. Now, if I remember right, that sunspot may not be marked here, but that's a former sunspot that was around here a number of weeks back. These are still showing this is from the 28th, okay. But yeah, it could be hard to say which one it is. Sometimes these sunspots go around, they come back in the earth facing side, they get renamed, and they just repeat and repeat and repeat. It's the same thing, same sunspots, new name. But this one is much further closer here right about now. It's just barely getting a visual on it, but it does look fairly complex, at least according to some of the magnetogram image out there. And I think that will be an area to watch here for some flaring from this point onward here, pending that holds into a strong sunspot. Flare threat, these guys have 5%. I still got about a 1% or so. I'm not sure it's going to produce any X-flare activity. M-flare should be increasing at about 40 to 50% chance. No major roars there in the forecast right now. There's a little bit of unsettled conditions. That's probably due to some high-speed solar wind stream that's just normally flowing from the sun. Let me see if I can spot the culprit for that, because we didn't have any CMEs are directed here. Let's see. So the 10th. Earth here in the green. See, we're inside of that solar wind stream right here, shooting out from the sun. That's what happens here. We get it on occasion from a coronal hole, and we're inside that right now. That's producing a little bit of aurora activity, but once that's gone, it should die down, and then we'll see what happens here with any future flare activity. Quick glance here at the next close approach asteroids. Really nothing of major interest out here. I do like to check these on occasion, just in case something pops up here that's of newsworthy value. But everything looks fairly safe here, folks. Storm Prediction Center here today. Looks like a slight risk there for some severe weather across portions of Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma area. Let's go ahead and zoom in here real quick and see what we got. Just checking my phone here real quick, making sure I got a package coming, but it's a little ways. Yeah, current day 1 outlook. Tornado outlook, it looks like here. A little 2% chance there. Wind, and we got some big time hail threats as well. That is a 15% chance in the hatched area. That's actually a 10% or greater probability of 2-inch diameter hail or larger within about 25 miles of a point. Hail probability there at 15%, but that's a decent hail threat. So watch out. Keep your car underneath an awning or something today, because you can get some big hail out there, and it can do a lot of damage. As far as the future threat goes, day 3, that is looking more and more likely. Potential for severe weather outbreak here, including tornado activity. Got a decent chance here for Saturday, Friday into Saturday. If we go on to the next one here, it's there's day 4 right over here, a little bit further to the east. But anyway, Friday and Saturday, just got to be prepared. That could be a kind of a big deal. Looks like it may even continue into Sunday there for the rest of the East Coast. So a couple days of severe weather out there. Got to watch that. I think we'll have a little bit better update tomorrow in terms of what to expect as far as tornado potential goes. There's a low pressure system right now. Right now, that low pressure is out here across California, giving us some rain showers here today. Not really expecting a whole bunch here in the valley. The mountains get a lot of snow, but that low pressure is going to quickly move to the east, stir up that moisture there across the Midwest area, and produce those severe storms expected here this weekend across the east. Another low pressure there across California as we head into Sunday and Monday, and we'll see how that plays out. Not really expecting a whole line of severe weather, but it does look like it taps into a little bit of a warmer, moist environment, and we'll watch that as we head into that's middle of next week, a little ways out. Either way, very active pattern out here as we continue towards the end of March. Quick glance here at the seismograph stations. Not a whole lot going on. A little small earthquake there across Petrolia. I don't even think they're going to be reporting that little one. Looks like maybe a little one-pointer, but nothing showing up here across the area. Real quick glance here at this one. Oh, a downgrade after being reviewed by a seismologist there, 5.0. Not a big earthquake whatsoever, but just a little bit of movement. I certainly didn't feel it. I don't think too many people felt it up there either. Way up north. Anyway, folks, have a good day. I'm going to enjoy the rain out here while we have it. Nice and cool, rainy. Got the windows open. Absolutely love days like today. Got another earthquake here around the Aromas area within the last 10 minutes, a 2.3. That's south of our area of interest up here across the Calaveras fault zone. But, you know, this whole area has been looking quite active here recently with increasing movement. Could be pointing to something bigger. When things are on the move, that's a good time to be prepared, folks. All right, have a good one. We'll see you guys back out here a little bit later on this evening. Take care.